This is Sid and Friends in the Morning.
77 WABC.
Do you have the mental and physical capacity to do it for another 4 years?
Please, I wouldn't be running if I didn't think I did.
There you have it, folks. Another disaster. Not as bad as Biden versus Trump debate, but Biden Stephanopoulos was also very ugly. John Fetterman, the Dem out of Pennsylvania, on record today saying, hey, say what you want about Biden. He's the only one who's beaten Trump. That's been my argument, that I still believe, as bad as he is, and I'm not talking about his physical issues. You know, I've been doing this for a long time on this station. Everybody talks about Biden's physical issues. That's not the issue for me. The issue for me is, for the better part of 3 years, he's been the worst president in our country's history. Has nothing to do with his physical issues. Zero. He's got both. Makes it even worse. Even worse. But I don't care if this guy runs to 40 and 4-4. It doesn't change the fact he's the worst president ever. That's decision-making. That's Democrat policy. Nothing to do with how he speaks on a debate stage. But with that said, I still believe, outside of Michelle Obama, he gives the Dems their best chance. I really believe that. I just saw a lady, for example, on Fox News who said, I would vote for Biden over Trump if Biden was in a casket. And there are Dems who feel that way. They like this guy. I don't know why, but they do. They'd rather have a decrepit Joe Biden. So if I'm the Democrats, these 9 House members and these other folks, I'd slow down. I still think if you don't get Michelle Obama, Biden gives you your best chance. Better chance than Kamala, much better chance than these loser governors. Any one of them, Whitmer, Shapiro, Newsom, they've got no chance. But the man who knows more about this than me does a great show on this station every Sunday. I love this guy, Roger Stone, back here on a Monday morning. Roger, good morning, pal. How are you?
Sid, great to be with you as always.
Nice to have you, too. I know you heard what I just said. As awful as Biden was in that debate, and he was almost as bad with Stephanopoulos, and how now it's really, really obvious that he can't do this. I still believe, outside Michelle Obama, he gives the Dems the best chance to win. Am I nuts?
Well, the problem is it's not a static situation. While I would concede to you, Sid, you might be right today, but if he falls down next week or begins calling people by the wrong names or has some other obvious mental, meltdown, his situation could greatly deteriorate. Look, I'm a great believer in the statement by Napoleon, who said, never interrupt your enemy while they are in the process of destroying themselves. And that's exactly what's happened. But let's be clear. Those who knew that he was incapacitated, those who knew he wasn't well, those knew that he couldn't function in this job, hid that fact from us. And now suddenly that it has been exposed to all of the American people, now suddenly they're insisting the guy they were covering up for needs to be removed. The hypocrisy is so deep you could cut it with a knife.
What else is so deep, and that is the Trump derangement syndrome for your friend and mine, President Trump. I mean, based upon their presidencies, based upon right now cognitive issues, Donald Trump should be up 20 points, and he's just not. This is, in my opinion, still too close for my comfort with the election less than 4 months away. And I'm sorry, you can't go back and say Trump did a bad job, whether you hate him or not. So the Trump derangement syndrome, to me, is as palpable as Biden's physical weaknesses.
What this is, unfortunately, is a reflection that the mainstream legacy media still has a huge amount of influence in this country, on the people who are really not paying attention, people for whom, getting to work, getting back, taking the kids to Little League, getting to the church supper, mowing the lawn, all of these things are a higher priority than American politics. So this is going to be a very close-run thing. Joe Biden is hunkered in. Hunter has now emerged as his gatekeeper and his chief political advisor. That's scary because he has self-preservation in mind. Joe needs to stay in office so he can pardon Hunter. Otherwise, Hunter's going away, probably for a long time. Dr. Jill, she likes the pomp and ceremony of being the vice president. And, of course, the rest of his family, we know definitively, based on the House Oversight Committee seizing of bank records, they ripped off at least $18 million from Russia, China, Ukraine, Syria, Mexico, Romania. Remember when Joe looked us in the eye in the first debate and said, not a single member of my family has taken a penny from any foreign country? That was a lie. But, Sid, I agree with you regarding his being a terrible president, but it did occur to you that when he signed so many of these orders, these executive orders and bills that destroyed this country, that he may not have been in his right mind. Therefore, those orders may not actually be valid.
No, I don't buy that because those orders, in other words, if you told me he signed stuff, Roger, and I would tell Bill O'Reilly the same thing. If you told me he signed stuff that was part of the Republican talking points, I'd say, wow, this guy's lost it. Everything he signed was a Democrat talking point, was a Democrat policy. So he just signed what he believes in. You'd have to show me something he signed that spit in the face of what his party believes in before I said he's completely lost it. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does, although I take it a different way. He signed everything Barack Obama and his people put in front of him.
It's fine, too. If you want to go that route, that's fine, too. But, again, it comes down to he signed Democrat policy. So for me to believe he's really lost it, he's completely gone, is if he signed something, I don't know, that says the border is shut down, something that is closer to Trump's border than his, then it'd have this conversation.
I'm making a slightly different point. We don't disagree that much, but Colonel Douglas McGregor was on my great show last night in 77 WABC, and he made a very good point. If it can be proven that he was non-compos mentis when he signed these orders, it would still void them, regardless of where they came from. Look, this thing is going to be very close. The single biggest bundler in New York, the single biggest producer of campaign puns for Democrats and for Joe Biden, a guy named Kramer, says he's out, not contributing, not collecting another dime until Biden's out. Most of the major Democrat money people are saying the same thing. Hakeem Jeffries and Chuck Schumer, they're getting very antsy because polling is now coming back, showing that in the wake of the debate, congressional districts in states that they thought were safe, not in play, now suddenly look competitive. So there's increasing panic there. Can Hunter and Jill hold off the New York Times and Politico and CNN and The Atlantic and the other fake news outlets that are now clamoring for Joe Biden's head? They all knew. They all knew what kind of shape he was in. They hid it from us. Now they're busted, and suddenly they want to switch nominees. I don't know how they pass up Kamala Harris. I agree with you, and I've always said this for years. Michelle Obama would be their strongest candidate. She's a clean slate when it comes to politics. She's probably the most admired Democrat in the country who's eligible, since her husband's not eligible. I've said for some time that I thought she would be the ultimate nominee. That's not the same as saying she's running or she wants it. But if they go to this open convention, this 3-week open convention, trust me, she is far more popular than any Democrat you can name.
No, she scares the hell out of me. I think we'll beat everybody. I do, except for her. I don't know if we can beat her. But I do know this. The path to 270 looks a heck of a lot easier, Roger Stone, for our guy Trump, since this quote-unquote blue wall, which consists of states like Michigan, Pennsylvania, where we'll be next week, Wisconsin, seems to be crumbling. That blue wall looking more like a red wall. So as long as nothing changes and it's not Michelle Obama, the path to 270 looks a lot better for President Trump.
I agree with that. Plus, there's been some expansion of the map. New Jersey, not in contention 4 years ago. 1 point separates Trump from Biden in the Garden State this morning from a reputable pollster who I know and I have worked with, not a guy who's doing, public relations. This is a real poll. New Jersey, definitely within reach. Minnesota, out of our reach in 2020. Now, definitely within reach.
You know what's funny about Minnesota? Trump may win Minnesota because Biden will lose Minnesota because these idiots, these Somalians and pro-Palestinians in Minnesota and Michigan, by the way, they deem Joe Biden pro-Israel when you and I both know full well that Donald Trump is 1,000 times more pro-Israel than Joe Biden.
I think that's an excellent analysis. Here's what we should consider, Sid. You should come be a political strategist and consultant, and I could do your morning show.
No. You are great at both. So Jersey's in play. Minnesota's in play. What other surprises are there?
The New Mexico, very definitely a positive trend there. New Mexico now potentially within Trump's reach. So, look, we were all looking at the same series of swing states: Georgia, Michigan, Wisconsin, Arizona, and that's in
Nevada.
Those states, Nevada. And in those states, in about 60 counties, this decision is going to be made. I'm more optimistic every other week. I mean, what we're seeing here, the implosion of the Democratic Party, the fratricide. If you have an open convention, here's a little known fact: more than 50% of the delegates to the Democratic National Convention are non-white.
It's true.
Almost a third of them are controlled by the more radical left labor unions like CWA and AFSCME and so on. Yep. So if you leave it wide open, you ask them to pick their favorite, it would be Michelle Obama. Whether she would agree to run, whether she would take it, that remains to be seen. But I agree with you. She would be the toughest candidate they could nominate. Making fun of her gender would really, really be stupid. Because people would see it as pardon the expression, below the belt.
Yeah, I don't do that. I know people describe her as a man. It's stupid.
I don't either.
It's stupid. Yeah, it is stupid. Really stupid. And if you love Trump, you're hurting him. On the way out, the Dems are also counting on all this legal stuff, which is pleasantly for me evaporating right in front of our eyes with the Supreme Court ruling, which was the right ruling, by the way. So all that nastiness that the Democrats were counting on, that's going away. Biden's lead is going away. Biden may be going away. And we've got a convention next week in Milwaukee, which I expect, Roger, to be a caucus, partisan Republican crowd and a very exciting week. What do you expect?
I think it's going to be a great convention. Sid, I've been to every Republican National Convention since 1964. Went to the first one when I was 12 years old to cheer for Barry Goldwater. And I'm very excited about this one because this platform is going to be an accurate reflection of what Donald Trump stands for, not what some think tank in Washington stands for, not what others stand for. This is going to be the blueprint to renew America. I'm very excited about it. Ed Martin, longtime friend of mine, longtime Republican National Committee man from Missouri, former state party chairman of Missouri, very, very solid Trump loyalist, very smart guy, working the platform for Donald Trump, have huge confidence in him. This is going to be a celebration. Now, obviously, we expect some protesters. There will be protesters, but not like you're going to see in Chicago. Their party is in worse shape in terms of being divided than any time since the Vietnam War in 1968. And their Palestinian wing, as you pointed out, is a real problem. It's not that those folks, I think, will vote for Donald Trump. Most of them will not. So a few of them will, but most of them will not. Most of them will just not vote for genocide, Joe.
Which is great for us. So when do you get to Milwaukee? On Sunday?
Probably on Sunday. I got the president is at Doral, Florida, on Tuesday for a big rally, which is just down the street. I've also got some meetings this week. I'm a volunteer helping the campaign. I feel better and better about victory every day, Sid. It's been an incredible 10 days between the debate and the Supreme Court ruling. But the most enjoyable piece of the week was Trump's interview with George Stephanopoulos, when he said to George, I got distracted because when they cut Trump's microphone off, he kept yelling at me and shouting at me. Said I went back and looked at the whole tape. That didn't happen, not even once.
No, I know.
Not even once. It's
funny because, they go on and on about Trump's lies in the media all day. And I'm not going to say Trump never lied. I love Donald Trump. I love him like a relative, but I'm sure he has. This guy Biden, all he does is lie. That's all he does is lie.
It wasn't even close. If Trump made any misstatements in the debate, they were relatively minor. I think I could count 5.
Right.
Where I counted 47 individual lies by Biden.
Every topic, every major topic they covered, he lied. Yeah.
It's unbelievable. There were more border crossings under Trump than under me. That's a lie. Women don't get abortions in the 8th and 9th month of pregnancy. That's a lie.
Right.
Inflation was 17%, 15% when I came in.
Right.
That's a lie. Yeah. Trump told us to take bleach for the COVID-19 vaccination. That's a lie. You can always tell when Joe Biden's lying. You know how? His lips are moving.
There you go. Roger Stone, another spectacular appearance. I look very much forward to seeing you in Wisconsin next week. Great job here today, and we're going to have a great time in Milwaukee next week, Roger. Thank you so much.
Sid, thanks for inviting me. I look forward to seeing you in Milwaukee next week, which is very famous for its beer. So
yes, it is.
Have a beer.
Yes, it is. We'll see you there, and of course, Laverne and Shirley as well. The great Roger Stone.
Hi, it's Lou Dobbs for Priority Gold, America's precious metals dealer. These are volatile times with high inflation, soaring debt, wars on multiple continents, and rising financial stress. Central banks are buying gold to diversify their reserves, so are many Americans. Call Priority Gold and find out how precious metals can help you diversify your portfolio. They're highly rated and happy to help. Call 1-866-303-6357 or get a free gold guide at PriorityGoldGuide.com. That's PriorityGoldGuide.com.